Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here with us today. For this one, we're doing something a little different. We are completely stripping away all the backstory, bypassing the usual setup, and dropping right into the cinematic, high-octane events of Session 25. We're looking at a party pushed to their absolute physical limits, navigating brutal combat, some completely absurd diplomacy, and a wild genre shift, all in a single continuous sequence of events. Honestly, it is a total masterclass in tabletop pacing. Okay, let's dive into this.
So we begin immediately in a massive life-or-death scenario. The party has just wandered into the Blighted Lands, this incredibly eerie wasteland covered in dead twigs and bone, and they've been fighting off wave after wave of smaller blight monsters. But before they can even catch their breath, a deep, purely evil voice echoes telepathically right into their minds. "You have disturbed my children, and for that you will die." Just like that, they are face to face with a gigantic, corrupt, black tree, the Gulthias Blight itself. The stakes literally couldn't be higher right now, and there is zero time to rest.
And you really have to understand the condition of the Holy Crusaders at this exact moment. They are battered, bruised, and just absolutely exhausted from surviving back-to-back ambushes. They are running on fumes. So, with no time for a proper rest, Ezekiel the Halfling thinks fast. He rapidly casts Goodberry, passing the magical berries around the party for a desperate, split-second heal, just as this colossal tree starts its assault. It's such a brilliant, clutch moment of quick thinking just to keep everyone on their feet.
That brings us right into Act 1, the boss fight. Let's move to and see how this builds.
The rhythm of this battle is just absolute chaos from the jump. In round 1, the Gulthias Blight lashes out, shooting these deadly vines everywhere to restrain the party. Miraculously, almost everyone manages to dodge them, but the tree's thick hardwood bark makes it nearly impossible for our heroes to counterattack. Then, round 2 hits, and the tree retaliates with a devastating volley of thorns raining down from the sky, directly striking Zotto, Barkin, and Antonella. And it doesn't stop. Round 3, the tree brings its massive, heavy branches crashing down directly onto the heroes.
Now these branch attacks, they are no joke. Barkin and Antonella take direct, crushing hits. We are talking about blows that would have instantly pulverized the normal adventurer. But what saves them here is their innate fury. Because both of them are actively using their barbarian rage, they somehow manage to withstand the lethal damage. They essentially just get the wind knocked out of them instead of being completely crushed to death.
But here's the thing, the Gulthias Blight doesn't just hit hard, it actively drains your life. Roots suddenly surge out of the corrupted ground and wrap tightly around Arya. The tree literally begins siphoning her life force right out of her body until she drops completely unconscious. It turns into this terrifying, desperate game of whack-a-mole. Ezekiel finally breaks free from the vines he was stuck in, just in time to heal Arya. But of course, his heroic act angers the tree, which immediately shifts its roots to entangle Ezekiel, and it starts sucking the life out of the poor halfling instead.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the crucial environmental shift that happens right at this moment. The party is completely on the ropes, getting drained and beaten down. But then, the sun finally sets over the blighted wasteland. And as night falls, Antonella's magical greatsword, the Moonblade, activates. This weapon famously deals double damage at night, right? So it begins to glow with this intense nocturnal power, which completely changes the math of the entire encounter.
With the Moonblade fully powered up, we get this amazing sequence of collaborative heroics. First, Antonella steps up and swings the glowing greatsword, finally slashing straight through that impenetrable, thick, hardwood bark. Second, this raw display of power exposes a critical weak spot in the tree's armor. And third, Arya takes immediate advantage of the opening. She steadily aims and hurls a psychic dagger directly into that vulnerability. The impact is so precise that the tree's huge branches temporarily go completely limp.
But, you know, a boss fight is never over that easily. The Gulthias Blight isn't dead yet, and it is furious. Remember, its roots are still actively sucking the life from Ezekiel, literally using his health to heal itself. Regaining its strength, the tree violently retaliates, swinging a massive branch that connects with Antonella and physically launches her 20 feet backward, knocking her flat on her back. The tension right now is just through the roof. But getting knocked down like that, it just enrages Antonella further. The team realizes that as long as Ezekiel is trapped, the tree is just going to keep healing. So they rally. The party focuses all their efforts on freeing the halfling from the roots, successfully cutting off the boss's health supply. And with the healing finally stopped, Antonella charges back into the fray, Moonblade in hand, and delivers the final decisive killing blow. The corrupt tree is defeated.
The aftermath of this victory is immediate, and it is just visually stunning. Zato steps forward and casts the spell Druidcraft. We go from a totally corrupted wasteland of dead twigs, oppressive darkness, and a sky where the moon was quite literally missing, to a beautifully restored landscape. Green grass and blooming flowers rapidly spread all around the area. Even the gigantic tree itself, now totally purged of its corruption, returns to life with budding leaves and blossoming fruit. The skies clear up, and the moon finally returns to its rightful place.
And the crazy thing is, the now purified tree actually expresses its gratitude. It lowers a huge branch, offering Zato the Thornheart Vambraces, which is this awesome set of magical wooden armor, crafted from its incredibly tough bark. Then, something magical happens. The massive trunk of the tree just opens up like a door, revealing a warm, glowing sanctuary right inside. The party heads in to find safe wooden beds and a pile of delicious berries waiting for them. After such a grueling near-death battle, they are finally afforded a safe, deeply earned long rest.
All right, so this brings us to Act 2, the comedic come-down.
The next morning, we experience this massive tonal whiplash. The party decides to head back to the local halfling village, and on their way, they cross paths with the traveling merchant. Now remember, earlier in this setting, the party's inventory and gold were completely reset. They are absolutely penniless and in desperate need of gear. The merchant is selling all sorts of interesting items, but since they have zero money, he offers them a highly lucrative but completely bizarre side quest deal.
The merchant looks at them and says, "Get the halflings to stop smoking pot and go back to work, and you each get one free item of your choice." So, the crucial point is the sheer comedy of this situation. Less than 24 hours ago, these heroes were literally battling a colossal, telepathic, life-draining tree demon to restore the moon to the sky. And today they've been hired to act as village babysitters for a bunch of stoned halflings. When they arrive in the village, the heroes take this job very seriously. They are walking around literally smacking joints right out of the halflings' hands, telling them they need to stop. The halflings are just super annoyed, asking why they can't have a little fun. Zato, wearing his massive, heavy armor, tries to intimidate them. He warns them that a red dragon will attack if they don't stop, but the laid-back halflings just look at him in total confusion, asking why a red dragon would possibly care if they smoke a little pot. Zato's intimidation tactic just utterly, completely fails. That is when Arya steps in with a stroke of improvisational genius. She doubles down on Zato's failed threat and just flat out lies to the entire village, yelling, "Red dragons are highly attracted to the smell of marijuana." The absurdity of it is brilliant, and the best part? The halflings completely buy it. Sheer panic immediately ensues across the entire village.
But right as they think they have the situation totally under control, the action suddenly ramps back up. Out of nowhere, a massive ogre charges right into the village. It is completely enraged, violently smashing tents, stalls, and just everything in sight with a giant club. The sudden chaos totally interrupts the comedy, and the party steps up to figure out why this monster is attacking.
Where they actually ask the ogre why it's so angry, it yells this unbelievable quote at them: "I demand you keep smoking. I enjoy the smell, but I won't smoke it myself because it's bad for my lungs." It is completely absurd logic. You have a giant, violent, village-smashing monster who is acting entirely out of concern for his own cardiovascular health, demanding secondhand weed smoke. I mean, you really can't write this stuff better.
Naturally, the heroes try to reason with this health-conscious ogre, but it just gets upset and attacks them anyway. However, keep in mind that the Holy Crusaders are now equipped with powerful new magic items from the previous night, like the Moonblade and the Dragon's Fang Greatsword. So what might have been a terrifying boss fight just a few sessions ago is now a totally one-sided scuffle. They effortlessly beat down the ogre in moments, dealing just enough damage to make it surrender and run away, which perfectly sets the stage for some classic diplomacy.
And this brilliantly illustrates the party's knack for creative problem-solving. Instead of just wiping out the ogres or leaving the halflings broke, they establish an entire microeconomy. Step 1. The halflings agree to stop smoking and instead sell their marijuana directly to the ogres. Step 2. The ogres, fiercely protecting their lungs, agree to just burn the weed in their campfires so they can safely enjoy the scent. And Step 3. The halflings secure a highly lucrative 25% profit margin on the deal, immediately getting them back to work. The merchant's quest is complete.
The village is saved, the economy is booming, and that brings us to Act 3, the sci-fi cliffhanger.
True to his word, the traveling merchant pays up. The party gets their free items of choice, successfully gearing themselves back up for the road ahead.
Feeling rested and victorious, they suddenly receive a request from the trapped avatars in their minds to check on the state of the game's other worlds. The team agrees. They step right through a portal in the main hub to travel directly to the sci-fi server to investigate the current regime. Instantly, the fantasy forests are gone, and they materialize onto the cold, metallic deck of a futuristic starship.
But their arrival is anything but stealthy. The literal second they materialize on the bridge, a woman they do not recognize as the ship's captain locks eyes with them. She doesn't even ask questions. She immediately orders the ship's security to seize the intruders. And that is exactly where the session ends. Who is this new hostile captain running the starship? What happened to the sci-fi server while they were away? And how on earth will the Holy Crusaders shoot their way out of this one? Well, that is a mystery we'll have to uncover next time. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.